I didn't want to label myself into an area. I wanted to have a more broad education. So America was attractive to me for that sense.
Welcome to a new episode of Most Memorable Journeys. My guest is kind of a dream come true because when I got in touch, I didn't think that she would reply because she's a very busy lady and she is at the moment very, very famous. She was famous before, but especially where I live, she is very famous. I'm not going to say any more. I'm going to say welcome to Most Memorable Journeys, Agni Scott, or should I say Sia?
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. It's so lovely to meet you and so lovely to do this with you today. I don't feel I'm famous,
you are famous and you're wonderful. You know, I sort of I'm a bit starstruck right now because I have seen you. So I've watched the film 3 times. So I have seen so much of you. I feel like I know you. And it's a little weird. Tell me something, though. You were born on the island of Cyprus, where I live. I have been married there for many years. I went there as a young tour guide. You were born there. And you went to the States when you were 18. How was your childhood in Larnaca?
I had a very happy childhood. I mean, I was blessed, really. My parents are very liberal, open. My dad is a designer. My mum was the first speech therapist in Cyprus. So, and she wanted to be an artist. She's a wonderful artist. But when she went to study, they met in Belgrade. Because at the time it was the junta in Athens and no one was going to study there. So they met in Belgrade and she wanted to be an artist, but they've asked for a portfolio. And she came from a little village in Vadili, which is in the Famagusta area. And she had no idea what the portfolio was. So she thought, well, if I can't be an artist, I want to work with children. And so she's had a wonderful career. She was the first speech therapist. She was going from Larnaca to Limassol and Nicosia when she first started because there was no one around. So I had a very happy childhood. I was sent, my father's parents were in Larnaca and we lived above them, which is a very secret thing. We built a house on top of my grandparents. Mm-hmm. And my mother's parents lived in Nicosia. In Plati, they had a home that the government gave them after the invasion, one of those refugee houses. And I was sent there every holidays. And we had the most wonderful time because my grandmother, they had this garden. They were lucky that they got the corner house and they had a garden on the side. They still have, actually, my aunt lives there, but apricot trees, oranges, lemons, fig tree, grapes, a vineyard, almond tree. They grew absolutely everything. So breakfast there in the summer, we would sit under the tree and under the vine and have figs and halloumi and fresh bread. So I had this idyllic childhood and we had friends there in the neighborhood and the cousins. It was very simple, but very, very lovely. And to have grandparents so close and I think it's a huge part of me. I think that having that family that you get in Cyprus, the close family unit, I think it's very special.
It is very special, and I think it's generally Middle Eastern. I believe that Cyprus, because of its geographical location, is part of the Middle East. And the beauty of people in the Middle East is the sense of family, the food, the always worrying that somebody may leave the house hungry. You know, this is these values. And I absolutely love that part of the world. And I love Cyprus. I love living in Cyprus. And you exactly all the things that you described are the things that I love. So
yeah, hospitality, isn't it? The Cypriot hospitality is
amazing.
You have it in the Middle Eastern countries, and you have I mean, we had in filming actually this film. There was a Syrian family in Kaymakli across the road. There were Syrian refugees that lived there, and for the whole time that we were filming there, the mother would come out with trays full of food and coffees and everything. I mean, I thought, my God, how much food for everybody, for the whole crew, constant hospitality. And
And
it's
they
a
were
really,
refugees.
yeah,
They
it's a
didn't
really
have
special
much.
thing.
Yes. No, this is what I absolutely love. And I also find that this part of the world is so misunderstood. It's this cliche and this propaganda that is, that everybody is bad and everybody is a terrorist and I don't know what else. And it's the most beautiful part in the world, if you. So you went to America.
I did.
Did you know that you wanted to become an actress?
Well, I knew I was acting from school. I
Yeah.
was doing plays. When I was 15, I did a play, and it was the first year that all the schools, the THOC, organized the school competition of plays, and I played. It was Phonasios Kleftis, a Greek play by Dimitris Psathas. It was a comedy, and then I got an award. And so every year I kept doing the plays and I was dancing. I was a good student and I didn't know what I wanted to study. I knew I had to go to university and I wanted to go to university, but I didn't want to label myself into an area. I wanted to have a more broad education. So America was attractive to me for that sense because I panicked when I was at school and all my friends were doing the exams for entry for the Cypriot University for Greece. It's a very close, you do this or you do that, you do business or you become a teacher. And America offered the first year where you can explore and you can take lots of different things. So that was the attractive thing. My parents, poor them, they never said no, but they would have much preferred for me to stay closer. I mean, I did get a scholarship in the end, and it wasn't, but still, they had to pay for accommodation, the flights. I mean, it was a huge financial burden for my parents. But but that's where I went. And the first year, I took psychology, I took statistics, I even took geology. I was taking all these different things, philosophy, and I was enjoying them all. And then I took an intro to acting class and I thought, oh, I enjoy this. I like this. I can do this. I like it. So then it became, oh, I'll take one more. And then they were doing a play and I auditioned and it was Fiddler on the Roof, the first thing I did there. And I was in the chorus. And there was something about me being on stage that I felt completely free. I loved being on stage and I still do. I find that there is something with the lights that I just feel completely free and open. So I knew, so that was the thing. And then I ended up taking more classes and thinking, I'm going to do this. So then I was in Miami for 4 years. And then all my friends were auditioning for graduate school. And I thought, well, I have to do that too. So I auditioned for graduate school and I got a scholarship at Brandeis University for their 3-year MFA program. And I ended up going there. Meantime, I came to Cyprus and I worked with THOC. I was in the chorus. It was Nikos Haralambous, which was a wonderful director who passed away recently. He was a genius and it was beautiful. So I did that and then I left and went to America again.
Amazing.
For years.
And for the people who are listening to us who are not from Cyprus, now we have more, but at the time when Agni was getting ready for university, there wasn't that much choice of universities. And it's also a little thing in Cyprus that our parents or the parents like their children to become doctors or lawyers or accountants. So I can imagine. But as you said before, your parents were liberal and they were generous. So they let you go. Thank God they did, because otherwise you wouldn't be where you are now.
I did actually a small, tiny little lie to my father because, I said, oh, I'm doing accounting, which is a very good Cypriot profession.
Definitely.
I did take statistics as well, which so
it wasn't a lie. It was a bit of
it wasn't a lie. I did take statistics. It's just my path slightly my husband laughs at me when I say that I was going to be an accountant. I could have done it.
Life happened after that.
Yeah.
So I was doing a little bit of research on you, and I was going through your film, the films I saw, or well, maybe I'm wrong, but is the first film that you were ever in the Hamburg cell?
Yeah. So, can you hear there's a dog? Shall I move the dog? Can you hear
leave the dog.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. We'll just continue.
It was 2003 and I left the States. Meantime, I met my husband, fell in love with him while we were in New York, and he's an English actor. So I moved to the UK. I stayed, once I graduated in 2002, I had a year in America where I was doing plays and off-Broadway and lots of regional theatre in America. When I came to London, I didn't have an agent. I had an agent in New York, but it was a small agency. There wasn't that connection then. And I thought, God, how do I start? I've spent 8 years of my life in America. I can't even stay there because I don't have, I was given a year visa. So how do I begin work in England, in Europe? And so I met through Scott, actually, through some friends, this casting director, Jill Trevellick, who's this wonderful woman. And she said, "What? Yes, I'll meet and have a coffee with you." And we met in Soho and had a coffee. And I said, I don't know, how do I start? Who do I approach? How do I get an agent here? And she said, well, just talking to you, I may be working on something, I don't know yet, that you would be very right for. And if I am doing it, it's still not decided, I will definitely audition you for it. And so 3 months later, meantime, I found an agent. I got my first audition. And it was this film about the hijackers who were studying in Hamburg. And it was their life, how these guys got to do what they did, this horrific, on September the 11th. And I played the girlfriend, the Turkish girlfriend of Ziad Jarrah, they met at university in Hamburg, and she was studying to be a dentist. She's under a protection witness plan now. And I got my first job, but my God, it was so scary because it took 2 months back and forth, auditioning. And the fact so that was incredible. So that was Channel 4 and HBO. And it came out, I think, a bit too early. It was 2004. And the Americans didn't know how to cope showing these people as human beings, how they, so.
Yeah, well, you see, that's another story. I mean, that we are not a political podcast, and but we know, anyway, no, we're not going to get into that.
Yeah,
but, there are two sides to every story. And so that was a serious film, though.
That was a serious film, yeah.
Yes. So and then from then on, it just started rolling. I also want to say for the people who are listening, your family name is your husband's name. It's because you have a Cypriot name originally, don't you?
So my name is Agni Scott. My name that I grew up, my family name. And when I came here, actually, was when I did my first film with Antonia Bird, who is no longer with us. She's an incredible woman, very talented director. We went to Edinburgh Film Festival, and she said, "Oh, you have a tricky first name and a tricky surname." Agni Scott. And she was struggling after being together for 6 months. She was struggling to introduce me. And so she said, how about change it? My husband's name is Scott Handy. Agni Handy doesn't sound good. How about Agni Scott? And I went, oh, okay. And that was it. So it was because of Antonia Bird, I changed my name to Scott, thinking it's easier. Let's keep the Agni as it is and have a slightly, so people don't go, oh, Greek.
Yeah.
They're very good. Also, as an actor, you do one job and then people go, oh, this is what you do. And it doesn't work like that. You are an actor. You can do anything really. So I don't say Greek people or so it was to open up. I mean, right now, I think things are much more accepted. But when I first started, it was, God, you have a bit of an accent. You look like this. So it was, I played lots of Turkish, Iranians, Iraqi, Egyptian. That was the...
People like to put, I don't know, it's this wanting to put people in a box, and I think the name sounds perfect, and it could be many, many, many things, it doesn't put you in any box at all. Another place that people would know you from, and when you agreed to come on the podcast, I actually watched it again, is Bridget Jones' Baby. And you were married to Colin Firth. That's quite the man to be married to.
Yeah, no, he was lovely. I know it's funny because you do that thing, and it was a small part, and but it was fun. There were Renée Zellweger and Colin Firth. They were really lovely. They're very sweet. But it was, I was there. It was I had 3 days of filming on that thing. So it was very short. And most people remember, because it was such a big film, most people go, oh, I recognized you in that. So yes.
Because you had a good role. You had a role of a woman who was you weren't really that much liked, were you? Because
I was married to him. Didn't work out. Career
too bad. It happens.
Too bad.
It happens. So talk. I mean, I'm dying to talk about Find Me Falling. I just played along now, the usual thing, but I want to talk about Find Me Falling. How did you get to role? How did it start? I mean, I met Stellana Kleris at the conference this year in Cyprus at this diaspora forum, and she was telling us there that Netflix had bought the rights of this movie that she had made. And I thought, wow, because Cyprus is so small, and I find it, it has it has a bad name sometimes because of banking and because of all these things. And Cyprus needs feel-good stuff. And I thought, this is wonderful. If a movie, and then of course you don't know what it's going to be. So then the trailers started coming out, and then I thought, this is good. How did you get the role? Did you know Stellana before?
Stellana approached me in 2019. She wrote this lovely email, and it came through my agent here, and also sent me a clip of her old film that she did, Committed, which was a two-hander, this couple in a car. And I thought it was very sweet, and it was well written, and it was well acted. And she sent me a script, and I read it, and I loved it. And so I said, when I'm in Cyprus next time, we should meet. And we met, and I put myself on tape, I auditioned, and she said, I'd love you to do the part. But then what happened is when they got Harry, when they got the American producers and the American money, she said to me, I don't know if I can, I'm fighting for you, but I don't know if I can get you to do the part, because the Americans want a Hollywood star to play opposite Harry. And I said, but how is it gonna work? It's a Cypriot woman. I mean, he's the only foreigner. So how is this going to work? But I said, absolutely, just let me know whatever happens. So then she sent me this really sweet email and said, I am so sorry, but it's not going to work. I've been fighting for you, but it's not going to work. And I said, I totally get it. It's absolutely fine. Thank you so much. There will be an opportunity to work at a later time. So then in May, I come to Cyprus. Stellana put a message that the film is happening, and I am so excited. We are beginning filming. And I go to Cyprus for my cousin's 50th birthday to surprise her. And we're sitting in a hotel in Brandeis, and we're all making wishes. And I said, God, look at this film is happening. I was supposed to be in it, but it wasn't meant to happen. And I said out there then, I said, I'd love to come to Cyprus and work. I've been to Morocco, and I've been, to all this Tunisia and all these places around the world. It would be so lovely to come to Cyprus and do a film. come and do some work in Cyprus. And I sent that night a message to Solana and said, by the way, congratulations. I am thrilled for you and good luck. By the way, I'm in Cyprus. I know you don't have time, but maybe we can grab a glass of wine one day. 2 days later, she sends me a message and says, are you still in Cyprus? And I said, yes. Can we get a taxi to come to Beja? And I said, yes. And I thought, oh, maybe there is a part. Maybe there's a different part that she thought, oh, she could do it while she's here. And I said, yes, of course. So I go to Beja, I meet Harry, and I meet the producers, and they're saying, well, can you do it? Can you start tomorrow? And I said, God, yeah. And it just, the timing, the whole thing, but also, Elizabeth, what is incredible. So I'm reading the script because I read the script 2019, it changed, it evolved, and I'm reading it. There is the moment where John, Harry's character, sings the serenade. That song, my husband sang at our wedding as a surprise 21 years ago in 2003 when we got married in Cyprus, and it was a surprise. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is a sign.
This has to be.
This is fate. It has to be. This is my part. So it just, thank God, it didn't work. The timings and, and I went to Beja and I ended up staying and doing the film from the next day.
Thank God you did. What happened to the Hollywood star that they wanted?
Well, it just didn't work. I think that it was the timings and it wasn't going to work out. So I was very lucky. So I'm very pleased that it didn't work out.
You should be. You should be. And if anybody is listening to this and has not seen Find Me Falling yet, then there is something wrong with you, because everybody has. I think all my friends have watched it all over the world, because I loved it, and I want people to see it because it's a feel-good film with a deep meaning, and it's funny, and it's not kitsch. This is what I was first a little bit worried about, because we have Cypriot soap operas, we have all this stuff that exactly, and it's not that. It is a fantastic movie.
It shows the best of Cyprus, I think. It shows the character. I love the food. And it's done beautifully. I love Tony, who plays the policeman. He's brilliant. The timing where they're getting all the food, and they said, are they going to stop serving us? No, which is true. You go and you feathers and it's endless. And then at the end, you get this fish and you think, who's going to eat this now?
I know.
Fish. It's that. And
it's beautiful. I think it really is
done. I love that.
Yeah.
And
when you are filming, I don't know much about filming, but when you do all this filming, obviously you do not film it in a sequence like the movie happens. Did you know it all? You had read the script, the whole script, obviously. You knew what was going on, but then you film sequences and pieces, and then it gets put together. So when you actually watched the film the first time, the whole thing, what did you think?
It was so interesting. Well, they did an amazing job, I think, with the edit. It's brilliant. And that's such an important, because when you're filming, you do the scenes, but you don't know what they'll choose, what they leave out. And of course, they cut things, and there are characters that are no longer there, or moments you thought, and you film it, and then you're completely powerless. And it's the editor who's now putting this film together. So it's a surprise to see what stays, what goes, what moments they choose, because you do these takes and you may do 2, 3, 4 takes. You think, which one are they going to use? It was, and I saw a couple of cuts before Solana showed me, before the final one. And I thought, God, this is good. This is good. Could it be? Is it? And I wasn't sure, because you're watching it, I'm thinking, I'm enjoying this because is it because I'm too attached to it? So it's clearly not an objective reaction, but I think it's good, but to other people, and also I wasn't sure whether it would translate. Is it because we're Cypriots and we find this really charming and commenting on the Cypriot culture, or does it translate elsewhere? And I wasn't sure about that, but I'm delighted. And I think Harry he's also spot on. I thought his performance was wonderful.
And a perfect choice. Yeah, and I think I was listening to some interviews that are out now since the movie is out, and I think he had a good time in Cyprus. I think he liked it, and he liked
yeah.
How could anybody not like being in Cyprus?
He had a wonderful, and all the Cypriot actors. I mean, the casting was tremendous. Really, all the Cypriot characters were great. I love my sister Kula.
Oh, yes. And the name, I mean, come on.
The name.
Kula is like the Cypriot name. Yes.
I know. Great Kula.
Yes. No, definitely. It's a must watch. It's on Netflix. It started on the 19th of July, but it's been #1, I think, in 60 countries so far. And it's, I was looking today in Switzerland. Unfortunately, it moved to #2, but it's probably going to go back after this interview. But now I was looking, when I was checking you out, when I was looking at things, I saw that you were filming in Ouarzazate in Morocco. Did you go to those Atlas studios?
Yes. So I filmed there a couple of times. I think first time was 2014. It was a series. There were 4 episodes based on a book called The Red Tent. And it was following the life of Dina, who was the only daughter of Old Testament, and I forgot. Oh my God, it was a long time ago. Dina, Joseph is her brother, and who had boys and 1 daughter. And in the Bible, there's nothing about her, and he followed her life. So I played Jacob's. He had 4 wives, and I was one of the wives. So that was the first time in Ouarzazate. And then the second time was after filming Find Me Falling. I was in Morocco for the series on Alexander the Great, which is a docudrama, and it's on Netflix as well. And it's really good. And I played Queen Statira. And it's very different. It's 6 episodes, and it's a brilliant docudrama on Alexander. It's called Alexander, Making of a God. And I'm Queen Statira, who's captured by Alexander when they get the Persians. And then, it's quite a story.
Interesting. Do you like Morocco?
I love Morocco. Every time I go there, I come back with all my bowls and my cups and things. It's like Scott says, how many? But they keep taking, so I need to go back. I'm thinking, I need another job. I have 2 carpets from there. Yeah.
I love Morocco.
I
went there the first time this year. I've traveled a lot in my life, but I never managed. And this year I went with friends, and I loved everything about it. Yeah. It's also this hospitality again, isn't it? And a lot of beauty.
Where did you go?
We stayed in Marrakesh, but we went for a night to Ouarzazate, and we went to the Atlas Studios, and then we also went on an excursion to Essaouira, to the sea. But I worked many, many years ago. I was a tour guide when I was young. I worked in Agadir, but just for 2 weeks. I replaced somebody who was sick, so I didn't really get the real Morocco at the time. And I need to go back, and I need more bowls. I didn't buy many things, and then I went home and I think, oh my God, why didn't I buy anything? So I get you. Every time you go, you want more.
I know, and you stop and you think, oh, I must get that and that and that. And you can't go wrong with those big bowls. And they make everything look special. I love them.
I agree. So where else do you travel to when you travel as a family? You've got 2 kids.
We have 2 kids, teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
So today, actually, we just managed to go for a walk because it's the Olympics. And actually, we're very excited about watching. I love the Olympics. It's such a an amazing time. I mean, that to be an athlete, to be working so hard, all the sacrifice, and then you have this one moment to shine, to do your best. I find it's the best drama to watch, actually. It's extraordinary.
Very true. I agree. It's very, very special moments. But when you travel, where do you go?
Well, with the kids now, we used to go a lot to France. Actually, we used to go every summer together with my in-laws and their cousins. We used to go to Provence. Before then, we were in Biarritz every summer. A couple of summers ago, we were in Portugal, so we did Portugal together.
Yeah,
I took my daughter for the first time to New York City. It was the premiere of the film, and she came with me. And my son says, "Can you also take me next time?" I said, "Yes, of course." New York City is fantastic.
Always.
I love
Always.
It's amazing. And I'd love to travel more. It's just we are in this thing with the school holidays. My son now, because he's 17, he gets invited to places. So he has an invitation to go to Hong Kong. And I'm thinking, great. He says, we'll go to Hong Kong and then Thailand. So I'm trying to get him to get a job so he can.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah. I've been there. Mine are older, but it's a good time. And you know, sometimes when they are teenagers and you feel they're a little difficult, which they are not, when they are gone, you miss them and you miss those times when they were a little difficult. So enjoy.
Yeah, I'm aware that they're not going to be with us for very long because they're 15 and 17. And so it is a very special time.
It is.
So I'm hoping my husband is an actor and he's off to Budapest next week. And so we'll be here. And I don't know whether we'll do a last minute somewhere when he comes back. But we're about to embark on some building work in the house downstairs on the 5th of August. So
that sounds like fun. Do your children speak Greek?
They do. They do. They speak Greek. They understand Greek. And I took my daughter to Cyprus, actually. I brought her last year. She spent the last term in Cyprus so that she would speak more. And they do, and they understand. And I hope that when they come there, if they spend a bit of time, they will be completely fluent. It's just not using it enough. You lose it.
Yeah. Because, you and I are the opposite thing. I married a Cypriot and I made sure that my kids speak German, and you married an Englishman and made sure that your kids speak Greek, because every language that comes in handy sometimes.
Absolutely.
And my kids hated going to German class, and now they are glad that they did.
I know. Well, my daughter hated. I took her to Cyprus and she said, "I don't just." And now she hated me. It's these years of speaking to her in Greek. And also when my mother comes here, she would say, yeah, please don't speak to me in Greek. Just don't speak to me in Greek in front of my friends. Whereas now, she's 15, she says, can I have Greek lessons and speak to me in Greek? So it's shifting.
Yeah, it is. And, all the families have this story and have this connection. And I think when you marry somebody from another country, it's a big advantage because we have the best of both worlds and they have the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
And if you speak one more or two more other languages, you learn the additional ones much easier. But I think we have come quite far. We have covered what I wanted to cover. You're a busy lady, Sia. I really, really hope to meet you one day in Cyprus. And I hope, that's one thing that I wanted to ask you. A movie that's on Netflix, what could it win? It's going to win an award, that movie. What is possible?
I don't know. Most watched film on Netflix. I have no idea. I think
you should find out because you're going to have to pick up that award.
You think?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, bless you. Well, I'm glad that people are watching it. I mean, I've been getting messages from people all over the world. It's wonderful that they are loving it.
I have, because I have a very big, because I used to be the director of the Global Women Club Cyprus, and I travel a lot. Anyway, I have a very big following of people all over the world. And I got messages from Sydney and from Canada, and people who tell me this, and people who always wanted to come to Cyprus and never did. And now they see what it looks like. And I think I'm going to have a lot of visitors soon.
Yeah, you're gonna have the visitors. Get the house ready.
I will. So for the moment, this is all that I wanted from you. And I really, really want to thank you for taking the time. Thank you so much, Agni Scott, for being on Most Memorable Journeys.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for having me. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
If you enjoy my podcast, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. You will find all the information in the show notes.